What's up, everyone? Welcome to another episode of 100 Giants Football Sports Talk Radio. I'm your host and producer, Logan Landers. Join me here today to talk about the Oregon Ducks 2024 team preview. First and foremost, William Yanish III over at firstroundmock.com and also part of the Under the Bleachers podcast. William, what's going on, my friend?
Not a whole lot, man. How are you today, Logan?
Doing well, man. Doing well. And, of course, helping us out today, our special guest is going to be Mr. Brandon Larson. Brandon, how you doing, man? Glad to have you back on the program. We just finished up talking about your team in Utah. Now we're talking about a team you don't particularly like, we'll say. In the
pretty close to a rival.
I would say pretty close. Yeah, I would say pretty close.
We strive to put people in awkward situations.
Oh, yeah.
Bring it on.
But Brandon, go ahead and get into it, man. What do you like? Well, if you had to compliment your rival, what would you say about them? Go ahead, my friend.
With, like I said, pretty much close to a rival, I think Oregon and USC are more rivals to Utah than anybody else in the Pac-12. So I'm very familiar, with Oregon. One thing that stood out to me though is the shift when Dan Lanning took over. Oregon went from a team that could finesse you and was all about speed and more like wanted to run circles around you than try and go through you, to all of a sudden the shift changed and it's like, oh, we'll go through you and we'll run around you, because they still had their normal, like I said, their finesse, their offense that Oregon's known for, but it was that shift. All of a sudden their defense was like there to punch you in the mouth. And I credit Dan Lanning to that, because the Mario Cristobal Oregon Ducks were soft in the physicality department, and I don't think that that's something you can look at this current Oregon team and say they're soft. And as much as that hurts to even say. But they really made that shift. And then now, Bo Nix, they had their super senior last year that led them. And then the transfer that they picked up, that Dylan Gabriel dude, I've been watching some film on him. And he reminds me of a left-handed Kyler Murray. I don't know if that's just because he came from Oklahoma or their build is also the same, because it's the way, he can navigate, run around the pocket, runs when he needs to, but he has a big arm and he's looking to, deliver it downfield when he needs to as well. So I was very impressed by that. And, one thing that Oregon's always seems to roll out is consecutively, they roll out nasty offensive lines. And that looks to be the same this year. The protection that dude's going to get, I wish I could get that many 5 stars on my offensive line in that regard. But I'm super impressed with the shift in that regard. And then same thing on their defense. Their defense, it was more so, they needed to be in your way and kind of stop you. But now, now they'll not quite blank you, but they'll hold you under 20 points and drop 40 on you. So to me, that's a recipe for disaster when you're trying to face them, and perfect concoction for championship football when you're the team that's doing it. I wish them the best, actually, too, going into the Big Ten. I think it'd be awesome than any of the Pac-12 teams that just, like, how cool would it be if Oregon goes and wins the Big Ten and then the Utes win the Big 12, and it's like we're meeting in the playoff and it's like we got multiple former Pac-12 teams in the playoff. Like, oh, maybe what we've been trying to say all along was we eat ourselves in the Pac-12.
There you go.
So I think it's going to be good to see, but also it could be a little bit of a rude awakening for Oregon, just because other than Utah and Colorado, they're going to have a bunch more cold schools, and I think it's going to be interesting to see how they adapt to the weather and the change of football environment with the Big Ten. That's going to be interesting. I think they're more equipped than USC is. I think USC is going to have a tough time in the switch over, but like I said, ever since I've seen Dan Lanning take control, I'm impressed with what Oregon's bringing to the table. And if it all works out, I'd love to see him in the playoffs so that we can get a fun matchup out of that. But that's about what I have on Utah, or on Oregon, excuse me.
Yeah. and William, do you think they have what it takes, to kind of get over that hump, get in a really good championship potential spot?
Yeah, and that's the thing, it starts with the face, and that's Dan Lanning here. He took Bo Nix from Auburn, and Bo Nix was terrible on film at Auburn. and he turned him into a first-round quarterback. And I saw all this and exactly what was happening. I evaluated Dylan Gabriel last year and didn't give him any chance in the NFL. But on this offense right here with this team and their switch to the Big Ten, the Big Ten is just that. It's a bunch of big football teams there. And, Dylan Gabriel, I like him in this offense and what he can do as a college quarterback, not so much as an NFL quarterback, but we're still talking about college, and having some of these wide receivers, Tez Johnson, Gary Bryant Jr., Evan Stewart, the tight end, Terrence Ferguson. I mean, they just have a really good shot to do some damage. They go up against some good teams and some good teams early. They've got Boise State, they've got Michigan State, Ohio State on the schedule, Michigan, Wisconsin, Washington. I mean, that's a tall order for a team right here. But, they definitely have the pieces in place. And Phil Knight, the guy that founded Nike, just said, that Oregon had unlimited nil to win a championship. And, not so much on this year, but in the next couple of years, they're really, the Big Ten's a good spot for them and a good spot where they can compete with this coaching. And it really depends, on how quick Dan Lanning, or if he even wants to get to the NFL. I really like him in college right now, and I really like this team. On their defense, they've had some turnover on the defensive line, but someone's got to step up. They've had 11 blue chip D linemen over the last 2 recruiting cycles, and I mean, so they definitely have to step up there. Linebacker Mateo Ugalele, Jeffrey Bassa, and Justin Jacobs. The defense closed out by Abar Muhammad, Jahil Florence, Kobe Savage. And like I said, I just want to repeat what I said on that schedule. That's 6 out of 12 that could be, losses. So, I mean, they definitely have everything in front of them, but they have the tools to work with. And like I said, I like this team, and they're going to be competing when the season's over and the college football playoffs start. They're going to be one of those 12 teams. I can promise you that, just like Utah and just like a bunch of others as well. So, I mean, but like the ones we're talking about today, this is what I see, and that's what I got, man.
When I look at Oregon, I get the sense of, man, don't you wish the 12-team playoff was last year? Because with the offensive firepower they had, as you mentioned, with Bo Nix, and also, let's not forget they lost one of their best guys up top on your line, and that's Jackson Powers Johnson, who won the Remington Trophy last season. So both of them are gone. Your offense, I think they're still going to look good, but I don't think they're going to be nearly as explosive as a team who had 530-plus yards per game last year, 44.2 points per game, for God's sake. I think that's going to dip. I don't think they're going to fall off a cliff, but I don't expect those kinds of numbers once again. Like I said, with Dylan Gabriel, who is a veteran in college football. He's been around the league forever, it feels like. Now he's going over to a new program to help out with Oregon, helping out with Will Stein as the OC, the coordinator. When you look at this team, though, I mean, offensively, I think they'll look good. Defensively, last year, they made some good motion, right? They looked better than years past. They had 34 sacks last year as a team. You like to see that. But you're getting a lot of new guys on the line this season. You lost 4 vets in total for defense. That's going to hurt your team as well. Let's see, you got Jordan Birch. He is probably going to be looking good this year, I believe. You've got, like you said, Mateo Ugalele, Tatum Toyota, and also Blake Purchase as well. Some guys who you're hoping to grow and get better and better this upcoming season. I like Dan Lanning as a coach, like we've all said and agreed on. I think we can all say that he is one of the better coaches in college football, depending on if he wants to stay in the NCAA for a long time. I think he could make a lot of money and have a lot of success like he's seen. But if he chooses to go to the NFL, that wouldn't surprise me one bit, because he has that, I think, just those qualities you look for in a head coach. And he seems also to be very well liked. You don't hear a whole lot about him behind the scenes, so that's also what you like to see as well. I think overall, when you look at this Oregon Ducks football program, though, they're going to look good doing it every single Saturday because God knows they have a million different combinations for their uniforms. You mentioned too, William, with Phil Knight from Nike saying, "I'll give you whatever you want, whoever you want to pay. Sure, go ahead." So that makes me feel good about the future of this program, right, for years to come. And I think that this is going to be a team who is going to compete in that top 12 for a national championship. I don't think it's going to be as dominant as we saw last year with Bo Nix and company, because, I mean, my God, Bo Nix was a Heisman candidate. And like we saw, he just got drafted first round of the NFL. So you're losing a lot of talent there. And I think they're going to look good. I think they're going to beat the teams they should beat. They'll win some of the games. They're going to be up in the air. But I don't know if I could pencil them in for a national championship appearance this year. But I do think that with the now extended 12-team college football playoff bracket, that this is a team who will take advantage of that and is going to probably slide in there. And who knows, Brandon, might even face Utah when all is said and done, if all things go according to the way that you would like it. But overall, I think Oregon, good program once again. They're going to look good. They're going to play good. And I think they're going to have another successful year like we've been seeing from this program for quite some time now. So I think it's going to be another successful winning season if you're an Oregon Ducks fan. Well, for William Yanish III and also from Brandon Larson, appreciate both of you guys coming on the show and talking about Oregon this upcoming season. I've been your host and producer, Logan Landers. Guys, if you enjoyed the episode, like, follow, share, and subscribe. And until next time, we'll talk to you again on another